Well, welcome. This is Dr. Kurt Johnson of Humanity's Moment of Choice from the Evolutionary Leaders Circle, a project of the Source of Synergy Foundation. We want to share this short video, Pledging Nonviolence, with Dr. Marty K. Casey of UnGUN Institute and the Reverend Deborah Moldow, Director of the Evolutionary Leaders Circle. You can find the larger video from the Evolutionary Partners Network's Nonviolence Campaign at the link on the banner that closes out this sharing. So over right now to Pledging Nonviolence.
This is a perfect segue to the work of Dr. Marty K. Casey and the UnGUN Institute, because she goes deep into the personal and brings that into community empowerment. So, Marty, tell us more about what you do.
What I want to share, and thank you, Deborah, for Rev Deb, for even sharing that, because you hit it you hit the nail on the head. It starts with self, then it moves into family, and then from family into community. And that's part of the formula, if you will, of what we use at UnGUN Institute, helping individuals to really get to that place. May peace prevail on earth? Well, yes, it can, and it will. But there's steps that we have to take in order for that to happen. So if we're looking to get to that place of peace prevailing on earth, it has to start with self. Then it has to move into how you influence family and those you love around you, and then how your family sits inside of a community and how that community is affected when something takes place. So putting forth that effort, to me, brings us to the highest level of humanity when we do that, and we do it right. And so I want to share with you all a little bit of a formula to help us to get to that place of taking on a nonviolence lifestyle. So this may be something you may want to quickly write down or what have you, if you want to kind of join along with this. And so the first thing that I want us to do is understand the base. What is our base? Our base is love. It's kind of like what Rick was talking about. There's just some things that we, as humans, that we all desire to want to have, right? Love is definitely one of them. So that is the base. And we are born in love, and we are born with love. What happens is that when we experience certain things in life, sometimes we don't get to choose, who our family members are. They were, and our sometimes our circumstances, and we're born into situations. I was one of them. I was born into violence, if you will. My mother and father, there was a lot of personal violence that was going on in my home that my brother and I witnessed. And then my great grandmother on my father's side was unfortunately shot and killed in her home. And so experiencing this at 8 years old, there was some things that reframed my mind of how people showed up towards one another. And that's why I do this work today. So I want us to get back to the basics. Can we return back to love? Not just choose love, because love chose us. We walked away from it. Can we return back to it? So getting back to that base, how does that show up in self? How do you take the time out to love on yourself on a daily basis? So be thinking about that. Write that down. And then I want you to think about, how do you show up and love your family on a daily basis? And then how do you show up and love community? So then we're going to move to the next part, is the tool. What tool do we use? It has to be nonviolence. That is the only tool that we need. And if we choose the tool of nonviolence, no matter what it is that we create, no matter what is happening to us in that moment, if we know love is our base and we use the tool of nonviolence, every situation that occurs, that happens, we will be able to keep ourselves safe and everyone around us safe too. See, being able to create the solution to the problem versus being the problem, that's the difference between being violent or nonviolent. I choose to be a part of the solution. So no matter what happens, even if someone is angry with me, I know that if I communicate and I use the tool of nonviolence, we're going to communicate effectively, even if we decide to agree to disagree. But we're going to still walk away with love and dignity and respect. And that's what I want us to look at. So as you use that tool, how do you use that tool and that tool of nonviolence with self, right? Bring no harm to self. Bring no harm. How do you use that tool, nonviolence, in your family? When there's a disagreement between you and your children, or you and your mom or your dad, how do you use that tool of nonviolence? Is that, you know what? I need to love you from afar for a while. I still love you, but right now my boundaries is set to where I feel like we're in such a great grieving disagreement that we need to put some time and some space between us. It's okay to do that. It's so okay to do that. And how do you do that even in your community? For some, they go, "Oh, I don't even watch the news. I can't take that in. I have to kind of cut it off. I can't hear that all the time." That's setting those boundaries that you need in order for you to be your best, highest self. So remember, the tool is nonviolence. And now what's the target? What is the target? The target has to be all humans. All humans, not some, not the ones you love, not the ones you look alike, not the ones you live next door to, not the ones who have just as much money as you or know the people that you know. No, it has to be everyone. That has to be our target market. So no matter who we are actually engaging with, that we are around, we should be willing to be a helping, loving vessel to one another. We don't get to choose all the time who we sit on the airplane with, right? But if that airplane was to do a nosedive, I would like to think the person I'm sitting next to is willing to help me, pray for me, hold my hand, and I would be willing to do the same. Sometimes those circumstances we are in line with, we don't even know who we're going to need. You don't know you're going to need that person in the grocery store that you don't even know because something just happened. But if that base is love, it doesn't matter whether you know them or not. What matters is that you know that's the target market. And as a human, I'm here for you and you're here for me. If we just know that, we're already, you see how that wealth is rising in humanity? And then the last but not least, what's our goal? What's our common goal? It's reaching peace. May peace prevail on earth? Yes, it may, and it can, and it will. If we all decide that that's our common goal. And when we do that, that's how we build wealth, starting with self, extending that to family, and pushing that out through our community. So who can do this? Where do we do this? And when do we do this? And how do we do this? Who is everyone? Isn't that the good news? Isn't that the good news? It doesn't matter who you are. You get to do this. You can be one of the wealthiest human beings on earth because nonviolence is the new wealth. So this includes you. It doesn't matter if you're Democrat or Republican. It doesn't even matter if you're black or white. It doesn't matter. None of those things matter. Only thing that matters is that you're human and you're saying, I want to do this. So that includes you. Where do we do this? Get ready. We're going to do this everywhere. Everywhere we go, everywhere, wherever your feet are, that's where you're going to do this work. Wherever you are in that moment. And when do we do it? You know what? The clock has 12 hours. It spins around and spins around and then 24-hour clock, right? Throw your clock away. You don't need that because you're going to do this all the time. This is where time does not even matter. You don't have to look on the clock to say, am I supposed to be doing this now? Okay. No, you're going to do this all the time. You don't need a clock anymore. And how do you do this? You do this by pledging and practicing and promoting it in with yourself, inside your family, your communities, and even on social media. How about that? How about when we're making those posts and we're saying things that we are thinking about, am I adding value? Am I adding more value to my wealth bank of nonviolence? Or am I being robbed or am I losing money? Is this the takeaway? I want to see this bank grow in each of us. We all should be so wealthy, spiritually, mentally, and physically. When we get through doing this work together, that we forget what it was like when we were fighting one another, when we were at war, when we were taking lives, when we were using words to cut deep inside of someone, that they never forget what you said. I want us to never even remember that. I want that to be so long ago that nonviolence is the new wealth. Can you scream it from the mountaintop that Dr. King was talking about? Let's go up to the mountaintop together and scream it out to the people deep down in the valley that this is how we can live a better life together, just on the right side of history. Today is January. Well, I don't want to say that because I don't know when this is going to play, but I'll just say this. Here in history right now, we are facing some moments. We're facing some moments where we keep remembering some things of the past that happened that did not show well as to who we are and how we love one another. Well, we can't change the past, but you can affect the future. Deborah, I believe you said that earlier. You said what we do can affect our future. You led with that. And I believe that. And I endorse those words because it's true. So what do we do today? Let's pledge today. Who? Everyone. Where? Everywhere. When? All the time. And how? Pledging, practicing, and promoting self through family, communities, and on social media. I'm Dr. Marty, and I want to thank you for an opportunity today.
Amen, sister. So what do you want us to pledge? Let's do it right now. You tell us the words and we're going to say it with you.
Okay, well, let's do this. We're gonna keep it simple. All right,
Yes.
here we go. I pledge.
I pledge. Do
To-
it with us. Whoever's listening, do it
Yes,
with
that's
us.
right. Come on, do it with us.
Okay.
I pledge
I pledge
to not commit
to not commit
any violent acts
any violent acts
against self,
against self,
my family,
my family,
or my community.
or my community.
I stand
I stand
for love,
for love,
for peace,
for peace,
and humanity.
and for humanity.
That's the pledge.
Thank you so much. Thank you, Dr. Marty, for all that you do and all that you stand for, because you're making a difference in this world and you're helping us to ungun our hearts and to ungun our world. So this January, as you said, it's the beginning of the year. We pledge for nonviolence right now. We are going to all stand for nonviolence against ourselves and against everyone else. No, nonviolence is the way forward, and it is the way to peace. So thank you so much.
Nonviolence is what? It's the new wealth.
It's the new wealth.
Let's be rich together.